There he is. All right. Hello.
Hey,
How are you doing?
yeah,
Oh
pretty
my.
pretty good. It's 10 p.m. in Poland. I'm
Yeah,
good.
it's this is the second one of these that I've done in the last like couple weeks where it's intercontinental and we it's either you are at an awkward time or I am and
Yeah,
I just can't get up in the morning like
yeah.
so it's
It's like I said to GMB that I prefer later hours in the evening because my kids are sleeping. So
oh okay, good. It works out for both of us then. Great.
yeah. Okay, so let's start with the fact that Age of Legends is a special release for In Virtue because it's both the third and the debut album because we have a new lineup. And you said in
Oh yeah.
one of the previous interviews that In Virtue was like born twice in 2004 and 2015. So how did this rebirth come about?
Man, it came about from frustration and a an unwillingness to let it die because it was started as a band, right? As like a more collaborative type of thing, bunch of friends in college, and it sort of became my primary musical outlet, or sort of my it kind of became my baby, right? It became this thing that I don't know, maybe I guess you could say I was very attached to it or something, but it just became the vehicle for my main musical ideas, and it had become kind of clear that the other people in the band weren't, they just weren't lifers. Like they weren't like music, wanted to do music as a career, as a huge big part of their life, and that's totally fine. Like we're all still great friends. I talk to them, and it's like nobody was like mad. They all like went and had sort of more regular lives, right? They got married, had kids, kind of settled down. They have regular jobs, and like this is it for me, you know, like music is everything for me. And um, it worked out in the sense that I was also a bit tired of having to filter my ideas through another singer, and like even though she was very good, um, I realized that that was one of the big things that was kind of holding me back as well. Is like these are my songs, I should be singing them, but at the time couldn't really I couldn't do that. Like I just didn't. I wasn't really a singer. And the place that I was living, the North Bay of San Francisco area, it's a beautiful place to live, and there's no real serious music scene to speak of. I'm sure there are some people listening to this who are like, "What the fuck, bro?" I played in a bunch of bands up there, and it's not that there aren't musicians or talented artists or great bands, whatever. It's just that the it's hard to do anything really professional and serious. And so I moved to LA, and it's not like anybody was going to come with me. So it just had to happen. I had to get a new group of people. And, ones who like were great and could collaborate in the way that makes the most sense for how I work. And that also wanted to support the vision of what it is that I was doing. And I feel very lucky to have found that, and to finally get this you know, this labor of love out into the world. Like, it feels kind of insane that it took that long, but also when I listen to it, I'm like, yeah, that sounds like a lot of work. So why not?
And you said before that you are the main singer of the band now. But listening to the Age of Legends, it's very hard to believe that you didn't pick up microphone for good like until you were 28. So did you sing a little before? Because you must have known that you could do it.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't like I did zero singing. Obviously, like I sang in like choir and I did a little bit of musical theater growing up. And on the older albums, I did all of the like harsh vocals and stuff. I think it was during the creation of Embrace the Horror that I started, well, aside from the fact that I started taking lessons to learn how to sing at the music school where I was teaching. I I started to want to like be writing more vocal harmonies, and I didn't want to just like poke them in on a keyboard and give them to the singer to learn, like have a little like oboe patch that represents the harmonies. So I just started like singing them myself as best I could, and like slowly it just got better and better. And but there's a difference between like being able to sing like reproduce a pitch and being able to sing in a way that's compelling enough that you can be the lead singer of a band. And there were so many little revelations that I had while taking voice lessons that made me go like, okay, maybe I actually can do this. And I feel like it was sort of an undiscovered country for me, and it was really very wild to go, oh, like this has been in me to some extent. This potential has been in me to some extent, and I just never actuated it. I never just was able to make it happen. And that sort of thing like makes you go like, well, what else can I do? Could I run a marathon? I don't know. But that's when I was really like, oh, like maybe I should be doing this. And I know it's like you said, it seems a little crazy, like that I waited this long, or that like sounds like I've been singing for longer than that. But one thing that I realized too is that a lot of people start singing, a lot of like great singers, they start singing very, very early. And then by the time they hit like 60, their voice is shot, like thrashed, I mean, if you hear like recent, John Bon Jovi, like one of the greatest rock singers to ever do it, but like he destroyed his voice by singing the key change in living on a prayer for 40 whatever fucking years.
Yeah, Ian Anderson from Jethro Tull, he also barely can sing his old songs, or Sisters of Mercy, Andrew Eldridge.
Yeah, and like a lot, like they gotta like change the key way down and all this stuff, and like I skipped almost 30 years of wear and tear on my voice. And so I'm hoping because of that, I'll be able to go a lot longer. I don't know. I think more than anything else, what I love is that unlike many, many singers that I know who are way, way better than me and whose voices I think are incredible, like kind of don't like their own voice. Like I've had conversations with singers who are like, yeah, I don't like my voice. And I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with you? But I don't have that problem because I still don't really think of myself as a singer. So anytime I sing something and it sounds good, I am so happy with it. I genuinely love the sound of my own voice, which not in a narcissistic way, but I'm just like, wow, that came out of me. Fuck yeah. So like it still feels weird. It feels as weird me listening back to what this stuff and going like, wow, that guy didn't sing until he was 28. I had the same reaction as you, more or less.
And you've mentioned before that you did harsh vocals on the previous album. On the Age of Legends, you have a lot of heavy, almost death metal vocal parts. So are you responsible for them?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the only vocals that aren't me on there are Charlotte, of course, the guests, Charlotte and Cheney. Um, Alex, the keyboard player, sang some harmony parts, and we have some like backup vocals from our friends, doing gang vocals like on Where the Edges Meet. And everything else is me. Is that right? Yeah. Oh, our friend Court from the band Lavinia also did some high harmonies, but yeah, aside from that, it's all me. So all of the different kinds of harsh vocals, which like I basically did on the previous material, not out of necessity exactly, but out of wanting to have that variety. Excuse me, wanting to have that variety of sounds, and then being the only one in the band who is like willing to do it slash capable, willing and capable, you know. And so I like kind of wrote them in and then just did it, like, and I don't think I was like particularly good at it, but once again, I don't have a problem where I ever think, oh, I can't do that. Like I go, okay, I can't do that yet. So now I'll learn. And I just do that with everything. Like, I just assume that I will be able to do any given thing after a while of trying it out, fucking it up, trying again, like why not? So I just take that approach with everything. And it's worked out pretty well so far.
And we've got the first single, Purgatory, in 2019, where the edges meet in 2020 and Scream in 2023. So, what was going on with In Virtue that prevented Age of Legends from materializing like all these years
Oh boy.
ago?
Yeah. Well, it was a combination of factors, as you can imagine. I take a lot of responsibility, so I want to say that right up front. Okay. You know, I I have a high level of ambition and a low level of organizational and logistical skills, I guess. So, and I guess I treat it as my baby, so have I'm reticent to outsource. Sometimes I just get a little too precious about it. And so initially when we started doing recording any of these, we had like a separate little recording session to do the drums for Purgatory, Edges Meet, and Push That Rock. Because initially it was not going to be an album. Originally we were just going to do an EP, and we were going to drop those 3 songs. And so we recorded all of that, and then we decided it was going to be an album, and we sort of released these singles just to kind of keep the momentum going, because we thought it was going to be done a lot sooner than it was, right? And then we had the pandemic, and we had we were still working on it during the pandemic, but it was a lot harder and it was a lot slower going. And basically what happened was we got 90+% of it done. It was a lot of just basically mix notes left. just stuff that needed to get fixed. And one of the producers, the one who like kind of had all of the files, just basically disappeared. Like it was a lot of like at first like kind of like, oh yeah man, I'll get okay, sounds good, I'll get that done, and then like waiting and waiting and like, hey, how we looking kind of stuff. And then after a while just dead silence. Like thought maybe he died, fell off the face, you know what I mean? Like got hit by a truck, whatever. Like who I don't know. Um and so he'd also, right before we had notes, he was like, he would send versions and I'd be like, where are these vocals that we recorded? And he couldn't find them. So I had to like retrack vocals in my home studio for a lot of the harsh vocals I had to just like redo. Um and you know, like that sucks. And it just slowed everything down, you know? And I like, to be fair, I think that the work that he did do on the album is phenomenal. Like the, you know, all everything that we did for those couple of years that we worked together came out great. But we couldn't get it across the finish line. So I had to, man, the shit I had to do to get all the stuff so we could finish it off. But yeah, it was 90+% in the can for years. And I kind of let it go more than I should have. I guess I felt a little powerless. And I hate being a nag, you know? So but there's a point at which you gotta just kind of be a dick to get it done sometimes. And so we then it was, once we actually had it done, there's a lot of prep that you got to do to release something the right way, you know. We wanted to do music videos and like get all the promo squared away, and you know, I hadn't done it in a long time and I wanted to do it right. So we really put in the time to finish up the videos, to line up press and all that, and that took more time, and it just does. We wanted to do it right, and it was a huge learning experience on all fronts. But I think the final product is exactly what it needed to be. So it needed to take that long, or I guess, not so much that it needed to take that long. It like it needed to get all of those things done too. It needed to have everything that's in it in order for me to be happy with it. And it's not even so much because I'm a perfectionist or something, which I kind of am, but it's more that like I feel like if it didn't wind up as it is now in its final form, it wouldn't make any sense. Like it wouldn't, the whole message wouldn't be there. The complete experience. And we bit off a lot with that, you know. It's a big story. It's not like a boy and a girl and they're break up and get back together and it's sad and happy. It's like, it's a huge monumental idea, and I couldn't just do a little, you know.
Yeah, because the album lyrically is a concept album, and it's about Sisyphean work, and the life of musician is also not easy because it involves a lot of sacrifices, constantly living away from home. Often money is not what some would like it to be. So is it also like a Sisyphean work? Is it also like a loop?
uh what do you mean, is it a loop? Like, does
Like you
like
you
the
you
album
need
loop?
to put like a very hard work into for example an album, and then it doesn't pay off because for example it doesn't sell well. So again, you're working even harder,
Oh
even
yeah.
harder, even harder.
Yeah, it's the sort of final takeaway for me from the story is, and what I put in there as the sort of ending is that like it goes from this idea of it being like a Kafka-esque misery loop of torture to a completely different perspective on the idea. It's inevitable. Like we are all pushing the rock up the hill over and over again. Like every day is a little mini Sisyphean loop, and every year and our whole lifetime, we have these ups and downs. It's a big old sine wave, I guess you could say. And the process, therefore, becomes the most important part. The work that we do. We kind of have this idea of work as being a bad thing, and it's one thing if are a Walmart greeter or like I don't know, a job that you hate or that sucks, whatever. But like the work for me, the actual getting in there and doing the creative part of it, making something, and the struggle to create a piece of art that matters or anything that really matters that you love, that you want to do, is the point of all of this, right? So that work is what gives your life meaning. And so then what happens, you start to love pushing the rock. You start to love to push the boulder up the hill, because everything you make will someday be gone. Like entropy and, just things fall apart. Everything eventually will be dust. So like you can create something that lasts a long time or that is really great, but it's the like striving to create that I think really gives your life meaning. And that's the work, which is, I think if we sort of respected that more, that we'd all be a lot more happy and we'd all have more of what we're looking for. Because I think that we look at people who have a lot and we think of them as being more happy. Like we'll reach that moment, we'll reach the top of the mountain, and then we'll have whatever. We'll be happy, we'll be fulfilled. But there's no more fulfilled or at peace or like calm that I feel than when I'm working on music, like when I'm doing that work. So I think that's the best part. When I reach something like when I actually finish something like this album, I kind of feel empty and I just want to get back in it.
And one of the songs that were chosen to promote the album was Karma Loop with Charlotte Wessels on vocals. How did this collaboration come about?
Charlotte is one of my favorite people to collaborate with. This was our second song that we've done together. One of them was just one for my YouTube channel where I roll dice to write a song, and then I always have a guest. And she wanted to be involved with usually what happens is I roll the dice, I write the track, and I send it off to a singer and they just top line it. But Charlotte wanted to be like involved, and she got, her community, her Patreon community involved, suggesting ideas for the topic. And she rolled dice on her stream to pick the topic for the song and all this stuff. And like, this is when I found out what an incredible musician she is. Like, I've known her for a while, a little bit. Like, I interviewed her back in the day, back when she was in Delane and all this stuff. And like, we kept in touch a little bit here and there. And when we collaborated on that song, it was so much fun. It turned out so well. She just absolutely knows her shit, and she has the best attitude. and she's just like the incredibly nice person. And I was like, I got to do this again sometime. And so when it came time and I was writing more songs for the album, it was an obvious choice to have her sing this second part. So there's this character that basically the only other real character on the album, aside from Sisyphus, is the Catalyst. Okay, and the Catalyst is just this sort of voice that sort of gives him the idea in the first place to break out of purgatory, out of his eternal torment, and like has all these conversations with him that are, some of them are like sort of arguments, some of them are just like philosophical discussions about whether or not he's actually worthy of his own, like about caring about himself. Because he is a piece of shit. He's a genuine like murderous, tyrannical king, or he was. So, and he knows this now. That's the only thing he's been able to think about, pushing the rock up the hill for 1,000 years or whatever. So she's in his ear being like, well, what would it take? What would it take for you to feel like to be able to forgive yourself for all of those terrible things that you did? And then there's a lot of back and forth. And so that's what Karma Loop is. Karma Loop is the most explicit conversation between the two of them. There's like a lot of it is kind of just sort of implied or something, and like we've got it in the music videos and everything, but this is like she gets a real voice, and that's Charlotte. And I mean, it came about, I just asked nicely and she was very enthusiastically into it and she crushed it. I mean, so I had written kind of a couple versions of her part, with her in mind, but it just needed to be a second voice and a basically a female register. But like, so I was hoping that she would do it. And so when I presented it to her, I was like, this is my version of it. Like, this is what I wrote. If there's anything about it that you want to change, if you want to completely delete it and start over, I'll explain the concept to you so that you understand and you can, because, she's such an amazing songwriter. And luckily for time's sake, she was like, didn't want to change anything about it, but then she added things to it. So she sang it more or less how I wrote it, but like obviously way better. And then she added all of these harmonies and call and response bits, backup vocals, layers and layers and layers of stuff that made it so rich and interesting, and like just like elevated it way beyond whatever I thought it could be. And then I was like, okay, this is probably the best song on the album now. God damn it. And I was like, I'm coming to Europe whenever this was, 2023, I think. I was like, we got to shoot a music video for this. And once again, she was like, let's fucking go. I was like, how can I, like, how could you not love collaborating with somebody who has such a great attitude? And so I went up there to where she lives in the Netherlands, and we shot the. I had like a general idea of what I wanted it to be, but I was like, we're going to shoot this on green screen so that I can put whatever put you in whatever scenario we're going to wind up with because I don't actually specifically know. I was like, this is my idea for the outfit and the general look. And she trusted me. Like I could have, you get somebody on green screen, you can put them in whatever. Like there was the whole Shia LaBeouf thing, like where he shot all that footage on the green screen and was like, do whatever you want with it. And then it was just like people put them in silly scenarios. Luckily, I wasn't going to do that, but she went all out for this video and for the song, and it turned out so great. And like those are the kinds of collabs that I want to be doing.
And when I saw the artwork for the album, the first thing that come to my head was Niklas Sundin because it's like his art style, and then it turns out that it was like this former Dunk Tranquility musician invited to create the artwork. So how this collaboration come about?
I mean, like kind of the same. I mean, except that I was cold emailing him. I saw the artwork for Dark Tranquility's Moment that he had done, and I was like, I was like, who did this? So I, went down a little rabbit hole looking for him, who it was, and other stuff he'd done, and all this. And then I just emailed him like he's got a website. I don't know. I got his email somewhere, and I just emailed him, and I was like, what does it take? Like, what do we got to do? And like, it was almost the same shit. Like he was just like, yeah, dude, like, let's go. I was like, I'm not famous or something. Like, I think people assume that in order to work with people that you view as, I don't know, very talented or extremely famous or some kind of, I don't know, like there's something about them that makes them unreachable. Like most of the time you just have to have something to offer, but you have to try. And of course, like like I had to pay these people. Like you gotta, you approach them in a way that's like, hey, like, what are your rates? Like, what would it take to get this done? And you got to figure out if it's possible on that level. But man, like I have almost never been like flat out turned down. So, I told him how much I loved the Moment cover and I wanted something like in that basic style. And then I described it to him. It was a commission. Like it was like, I want this, but good. like I it needs to represent this idea, but like visually I have a pretty good idea. And if you look at the picture of the dude on the front of this is obviously Sisyphus. I took a picture on my phone of like kind of what I wanted it to look like. And it's I mean, I think he like cut me out of the picture and then kind of like painted over it in a way. Cause he was like, yeah, like that's, because it's autobiographical in a kind of roundabout way. So that's me on the cover as Sisyphus. And then he just, like there was very little back and forth. He like pretty much knocked it out of the park, and there were just like little things that I asked him to add, like the snakes and the vine that's like wrapped around his leg, and then the crown, this like kind of discarded crown off to the side, and then we went through a couple revisions of the colors of Earth through the torn veil, whatever.
And this is all that I have prepared, so thank you very much for your time. And
Absolutely.
I would like you to say something to Polish fans, maybe convince them to take a look to the new Inversion
Oh.
album.
How do I convince the people of Poland? Hey, I have been to Poland and I had the best time there. I want to go back super bad. I went to Warszawa and Gdańsk, and the Polish people treated me like gold. I hope that you will find something in here to something that I can give back to the people of Poland for treating me so nicely. And I'm trying to think of some. I didn't prepare anything, so I love Poland, and I hope that Poland will love us back, and hopefully someday we can come and play there. That would be pretty awesome.
Okay, so
So,
again, thank you for your time and have a great day.
hey, thank you so much. This was great, and also thank you for the great review on your website. I really enjoyed that. So, have a great night, and I'll hopefully talk to you soon.
Yeah, bye.